So you said you can do, we're live now. Hello, we're back. You said that 24 projects. A third you've given in and are waiting for feedback. A third you're in the process, and a third exists so far as treatment synopsis, log lines, and emails. How do you successfully juggle this crazy amount?
Right now, this is pretty high, like when you think of the number of things. But what I do, and it goes against every bone in my body, is I get up at 5. And then I write till 7. Kids get up, making breakfast. They're still not sleeping through the night, so it gives Sonia a chance to sleep in. I'm with them watching TV, and then I'll work till 9, take a shower, get ready, and then I'll shift from that project at 5 in the morning, which I got maybe 8 to 12 pages done on.
Nice.
Right? And then you have the day, which is Zooms and emails, and that's the work. I mean, but during that time, it's like if I get the half hour here or there, instead of playing a game, I work on that treatment, or I answer that email and give it that half page. I love writing. I love what I do. And then when the kids go down, I try to spend time with them then during the day, in the afternoon, dinner, put them down. And then I'll write till I'll get like 3-4 hours from 8 to 11, 8 to midnight. This is not the way it's going to be for forever. It's just there is so much work for me in regards to quarantine. I got to take it, because I just don't know.
Я спросил Дерека, как он сейчас балансирует, когда у тебя 24 проекта. Как, просто по мне это нереально сложно. Я пробовал, у меня было 3, и это было не совсем прям выпило всю мою кровь. Как он делает своим образом? Он писал свой день. Он начинает работать в 5 утра, работает где-то до 7 до 8. В какой-то момент он написал от 8 до 12 страниц. Дети проснулись, он потусил с детьми, отвез в школу, если надо, вернулся. И тут начинается следующий сценарий, он работает над следующим, сколько успеет. Потом после обеда начинается работа уже именно голливудская работа, где звонки, созвоны, обсуждения и так далее. И вечером, после того, как он детей уложит, он садится и пишет там где-то до 11-12 еще какое-то количество страниц. Я, конечно, в шоке от работоспособности этого человека, я бы так не смог. I'm just saying that I'm shocked and I'm jealous of your ability to focus on one thing, while you make the decisions to focus. For me, it's easy. I get on set, I have no options but to focus. It's automatic. But home, here's a question: how, I want to Google this afterwards. How do you build up discipline? Because I lack that shit.
Well, initially, it's madness, dude. There is a certain amount of madness, and I would say the same madness goes towards when I was in college and I had friends wanting to be doctors. I hate school. I hated school. I love learning. I love reading, but not school. And to me, it's like they have college and then medical school. And then residency, and by the time they're a full-time doctor, they're in the 30s. And I was like, how the hell are you going to do it? And you become a screenwriter, and some people, they're in film school. They're 20, 21, and it's a career. Other people, like me, actually a lot of people like me, you're in the trenches for years. You do those direct DVDs, and then you get something, and it happens to be good, and then you're 40. But then you have other people that it's a whole lifetime. So there is a certain amount of fear, madness, rage. But come the end of it, I fucking love it, dude. There's this weird love. It's an addiction.
Он говорит, что откуда сила и откуда дисциплина. Он говорит, что это любовь в кино, это ярость, это абсолютное безумие. Но главное, это любовь в кино, и это как наркотик. Когда что-то получается, это все стоит того. Это был у меня вопрос, что главная мотивация. Не мой вопрос, а кто-то здесь спросил. How did you get into this business? Did you send your work to studio? What was your path?
This is the one thing that being 46 years old makes me feel a little bit more archaic, because when I came out here it was 1999-2000.
Он приехал в 99 году в Голливуд.
And we had, everyone was using emails. My first 98, 99 is when people really first started getting cell phones.
В 98-99 появились сотовые телефоны.
You couldn't send a screenplay to anybody. That was unsolicited.
Сценарий нельзя было послать кому-то без заранее, не знаю правильное слово, как сказать на русском, но без договоренности нельзя было отправлять.
I've written a couple of scripts.
Написал пару сценариев.
And spent $200 to $300 a week printing them off.
Тратил $200-300 в неделю, печатая их. That's a lot of money back then.
Oh, dude.
Большие деньги.
and then just physically sending them to every address I could get.
И он отправлял эти сценарии по физическому адресу, все адресы, которые он мог узнать, продакшена, в студии, он всем отправлял.
And all of that was a waste of time and money.
И это была трата времени и денег.
Because what it comes down to is you meeting someone who says, hey, I know a guy.
На самом деле все решается другим способом, потому что связи решают все это. Встречаешься с человеком, который говорит, я знаю, кому надо показать.
And that's how I got into it. I mean, my first couple of jobs, it wasn't a lot of pay, but at the time, it was a week's worth of work for 3 months of rent. And I was like, holy shit, yes.
Первый раз, когда он работал, ему дали за неделю денег, чтобы он мог оплатить свою квартиру на 3 месяца вперед.
Yeah. And then, the work keeps getting bigger and bigger. And
и работа все больше и больше.
I do 2 direct-to-DVD movies.
Он сделал 2 фильма прямую на DVD.
John Wick.
И потом John Wick. John Wick 3. So it's the third one that planted you firmly.
Yeah, I mean, John Wick is like, anytime, when you look at IMDb, the number of times you see a writer especially, and he has 1 credit, be it a good movie or bad, you've made movies, Ilya. You know how exhausting this can be. And I think by the time you get that 3rd produced movie, it's almost Hollywood going like, okay, he's in it for the long haul. Mm-hmm. In other words, like, okay, he did it. Now we can work with him.
It makes sense, yet it doesn't make sense. It's a mix of both. Это странно, при этом все логично, но при этом остается странным то, что первый фильм на DVD, второй фильм на DVD, и третий у него Джон Уик. И с третьим судьба его поменялась. Как раз он был с ракет. И я просто что-то задумался, извините. Что же важно, что сказал, пардон. Да. I think I remembered everything I said. So it was the first. I'm sorry, I'm a little slow. So it was the direct to DVD 1, direct to DVD 2, John Wick. Now I remember. И важно, что когда ты делаешь третий фильм, вокруг тебя все понимают, что все, этот чувак здесь надолго, тут серьезный, и с ним уже можно иметь дело, это не просто какой-то турист. So you just stop being a tourist. After like a couple, you're like, okay, he's he brought property in this ground. He's one of us.
Like, I think there's also that unspoken of, okay, we yelled at him a couple of times, he didn't cry. He didn't quit, because I mean, dude, you get yelled at all the time. And it's kind of like when you're a little kid and dad spanks you, you're like, okay. But if dad looks at you and just goes, I'm disappointed.
Yeah, it's much worse. Он говорит, что еще важно, когда ты сделал уже 2 фильма и сделал третий, есть ощущение у всех вокруг, что да, мы уже пиздюлей ему надавали, на него наорали, он выдержал, он адекватный чувак, с ним можно иметь дело. То есть это респект к опыту. It's respect towards experience. That's the basic way of putting it. It's just people are like, okay, like, all right, he's around. Ты перестаешь быть туристом. Это очень важно.
And the other thing too is, like, as you all know, for as long as it takes to make a movie, it's like, okay, do I enjoy working with that guy? Do I enjoy seeing him? Do I enjoy seeing her walk in, him walk? Like, in other words, just like, you're on this boat and it's cramped and it's on fire in a storm. Do you like the people on board? You better.
Важно еще иметь дело с правильными людьми. Когда ты на лодке, которая еще горит, важно, кто твоя компания, с кем ты будешь гореть в этой лодке. Do you have any tips on how to write a synopsis for producers or log lines?
Log lines are tough. The people who do that are poets. Same with honestly titles. I don't like titles that much. With synopsis though, you've always heard the term like an elevator pitch. That should be your synopsis. Make sure it's something, and it's always kind of interesting. Like, you ever seen the first page of the screenplay for Roadhouse?
No.
No, you had no idea this was coming.
No, but I like the movie.
Yeah, there is the scene. It's in the. It says, I can't remember the character's name, right? But the first page is like, this guy meet so and so. He has a degree in psychology. He is a former Marine. He carries with him all of his X-rays, and he doesn't use painkillers. And he's the nicest guy you ever meet. And he's the top bouncer in the world. Like, literally, it was kind of like that. And you really like, I'm fucking in. I'm in. That to me is what a synopsis should be. I think the best synopsis are all about tone. And if you get it across right, you get it across right. We've all seen those little things on Facebook where it's like, pitch to me your favorite movie in the worst way possible. That
gems
can
in
be
there.
the worst synopsis for the best movie ever.
Yep.
And then it happens that way. So they take forever. Treatments not so much. Synopsises, they take forever.
Синопсис занимает много времени. Синопсис надо к этому относиться как питч в лифте. Это когда у тебя есть у тебя есть какое-то количество секунд, пока человек тебя слушает, потому что он не может уйти из этого лифта. Тебе нужно сделать настолько интересный питч, чтобы он сработал за это сжатое время. И достаточно, чтобы вызвать интерес прочитать сценарий. Он говорит, один из его любимых примеров классных синопсисов, на самом деле, это первая страница описания героя Патрика Суэйзи в фильме «Роудхаус», где говорит, что чувак, он носит с собой всегда свои рентгены всех своих переломных костей, он делает то, третье, четвертое, да, еще он лучший вышибала на свете. Все, ты сразу понимаешь тонально, что это будет за фильм. И это, он говорит, это и есть синопсис. Синопсис — то, что сразу все понятно и интригует. Should we do? Well, I don't have a watch in front of me. How are we for time?
About 5 more minutes.
5 minutes. У нас осталось 5 минут. Давайте сейчас быстренько. I'm gonna try to find something we haven't had. Sorry, this is a lot of choices. Okay, what do you like about Marvel, and was it tough working on Falcon and Winter Soldier? Вопрос, чем нравится Marvel, и сложно ли было работать над сценарием «Сокол» и «Зимний солдат»?
First of all, the fanboy geek in me, to drive onto the Walt Disney lot, park, walk through I don't know how many security gates with a little key card, and then enter the lobby where there's all the Mark armors from Iron Man every day was so fucking cool.
Во-первых, было очень круто переходить, как фанбой и как гик, переходить на диснеевскую студию, проходить все эти кордоны безопасности и заходить в главное здание, где стоят все костюмы Железного Человека. Это, конечно, просто круто.
They're incredibly secretive, so
все сверхзасекречено. Комната с сценаристами закрыта.
And at lunch, when we went out to the main area, if security overheard us talking about our show, they would politely say, please only discuss in your room.
Потому что если во время обеда ты садился с другими своими ребятами из комнаты, сценарной комнаты, начал обсуждать проекты, обычно подходил охранник и говорит, пожалуйста, не обсуждайте это за пределами комнаты. И комната сценарная запиралась. То есть все действительно top secret. I knew it was secretive, but that is like some...
I mean, the other thing too is they are precious with their IP for good reason. And you could, if you wanted to, bitch about the way they do things, but it's worked pretty well for them.
Exactly.
You know?
No, it'd be weird if it was like if DC was doing the same thing, kind of be like, well, I'm not sure. But they've earned the right to tell people to not discuss things outside the rooms.
Yeah. But it was a joy.
Было очень круто работать, было быстро, и было тяжело. Прям было кайфово.
What made it great though is Malcolm Spellman, who's a showrunner.
Шоураннер, что ему очень понравился.
Art Gogland, who was the director. It's rare to have the director in the writers' room.
Редко, что режиссер присутствует в комнате сценариев с сценаристами.
And the whole time was iron sharpens iron, best idea wins.
И все время как бы железо точит железо, и лучшая идея выигрывает. Поэтому было круто. Тяжело, но круто. Are you allowed to say how much you've written, or is that NDA'd?
No, not really. I mean, I wrote a couple, but when you are doing a 6-episode spread like that, you then turn it in, and people are doing pass upon pass upon pass. The work is in the room, breaking the story, breaking the characters, etching it out, treatment. When you got sent off the script, it was just bring us the script, and then it was torn apart, blown up, and put back together based on what the production needed to be. You know?
Очень много работы. Он написал несколько эпизодов, и там постоянно все переписывается, ты сдаешь, они разбирают, перебирают, потом продакшн, есть свои какие-то заметки, то, что связано с реальностью, с бюджетами. Но это большая сложная работа. Командная. Team effort.
Become the end of it, it was a joy.
Но было в итоге самое главное, что было кайфово.
I learned a shit ton, man. It was awesome.
Много чего. But that's the thing with you. You never stop learning. You're excited by the...
Yeah. This is what I loved about Malcolm is he'd be pitching something and he would read the room and he'd go to someone, he's like, what are you thinking? And someone would pitch something and he'd go, fuck, that's better. Let's go down that, rabbit hole. And then we go down the rabbit hole and we get to a spot where it's like, that didn't work. Or he'd say, no, that made it all the way through. Let's do that. And so when you had a guide, a leader like that, it made a hard process all the simpler still.
Очень интересный был путь, очень правильный путь, то, что режиссер, what's his full name? It's Malcolm?
Malcolm Spellman.
Malcolm Spellman, он, that's not the showrunner, that's the director. Or the showrunner.
He's the showrunner.
She's the showrunner.
And then the director is
a woman. What's her name?
Yeah, Carrie Scogland.
Carrie Scogland. Девушка-режиссер Carrie Scogland. Шоураннер Малком. Очень интересно, когда они сидят все в комнате. Там, how many writers in that room? Сейчас спросил, сколько людей в комнате. 5 сценаристов и плюс шоураннер. И получается, когда Малком приходила идея, он озвучивал эту идею, слушал все варианты, они говорят, так, вот этот вариант интересен, давайте его разбирать. Не разбирают вариант, приходит к концу, так, все, работает, вот это и будем делать, или вот это лучше, хуже. То есть, опять же, лучшая идея, никто не парится откуда, кто придумал. Главное, чтобы был результат, командный спорт. Last question, this is a non-work related one. Какой фильм вы ждете больше всего в этом году или в следующем году? What is your number one film that you're waiting for? That you can't wait to see in the theaters, hopefully, if they're still around, or a couple.
Oh, dude,
it's tough. It's a softball that's got the heart of concrete.
Holy shit, dude! How is that the one that gums me up? I think it's so weird because a highlight of my day is going to YouTube and watching trailers.
Он обожает смотреть трейлеры, это самая яркая вещь, которую он делает каждый день.
It's been
dry
and like, hey, we found this thing that's just been rotting on the shelf. Release. And you're like, oh, man.
Он говорит, что он очень любит смотреть трейлеры на YouTube, каждый день он смотрит большим удовольствием. Он говорит, последние 4 месяца, мне очень скучно, потому что явно, что выпускают всякую шнягу, которая после этого лежала и не знали, что делать. А сейчас в условиях пандемии все поменялось.
Of course, like everyone else, Tenet intrigues, you know?
И он заинтригован, разумеется, Tenet, как мы все.
And I'm really intrigued about Guy Ritchie's next movie.
What is his next one? И Гай Ричи новый фильм.
I think it's called Armored Car with Statham, where it's much more Hitchcockian, back to his roots type thriller.
Nice.
I think those are the kinds of ones that I get excited about. I love horror though, and so *Malignant* with James Wan, I'm a fan of.
That was supposed to be coming out right opposite us on 14th of August. Yeah. What about Antlers? You remember that one?
That's right. Yeah, no, Antlers looks cool because the amount they managed to pull off for as little as they had, it was pretty sweet. But yeah, dude, I'm a little bit dry in regards to what's coming out because even today they're like, hey, Mulan, buy it for $30 in a couple of weeks. And you're like, oh, okay.
Good luck. Do you think it will work for $30? I was reading this morning on Reddit, and I have my doubts, as do many other Redditors.
I don't know, but also like that's kind of a weird one to come out with for $30. And the reason I say that is it's a violent one. You know, when you think of like even the cartoon, it's the like
people get hurt.
It's on, dude. You know. But then you also think if you take a family of 4 to the movie theater and tickets are $15,
that's $60 already without the popcorn.
It's experience. I don't know. Like Quibi is a weird thing too. Like everyone said, Derek's future, and then now people are saying, oh, they failed, and I'm kind of like, dude, who's to know yet? Like on any of these things. And now Netflix announced their new thing today where you can watch a film on an Android device at 1.5 times speed.
Yeah. Oh boy. And
I'm like, okay, whatever floats your boat.
Do you know who heard that and probably got upset? Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah.
Good luck. That stuff will not work. Like any dialogue heavy things.
Walking around the White House. Yeah.
No, it's I mean, fine. People should they want to watch it. I mean, look, this VLC player always had the same option, and people could always use it. So it's not like it's a brand new invention.
The other one too is I miss those sci-fi epics. So the idea of what's his name doing Dune, I'm like, yes, please.
I'm sure. I know that's going to be great. I just know it.
I mean, that's just exciting. I mean, but no, it's weird because it even happened before the quarantine. But a lot of the stuff that I love is now TV. You know, if you took Air Force One and made it present day, it would probably be an anthological season. Every season is 68 episodes about some famous terrorist attack on something, and you'd be like, yeah, I'll watch that.
Sure.
You know?
It's both a blessing and a curse because there's so much cool shit that we couldn't have before. But I want to see some of that cool shit on the big screen. Can we do that? No, not anymore.
But to me too, like this is a good one to end on. But like, it's the Raid, dude. It's the first It Man. It's Ong Bak when you're sitting in the theater with people, and it's a kung fu, and you're in. You know the character, and he does that thing. And you're like, oh shit! And you look around, and you lock eyes with a guy or girl you don't know, and he's like, "Do you see that?" I'm like,
That's
"Yeah,
fucking
movies,
magical,
motherfucker."
Yep. I mean, it's such a strange thing. We go sit in a dark room with a bunch of strangers and have a good time. It doesn't sound on paper like it's an interesting. It sounds like a creepy ass time. But we're in that dark, chewing food very loudly occasionally. Some people and nachos and stuff, and we're enjoying stories. I mean, I'm so happy that this medium exists. Like, if it didn't exist, somebody should have invented it.
Yeah, the number of times we've seen bad movies and still had a good time.
Yep. Yeah, I had a great time. Movies. You go with the right people and you can have fun, and it's...
The only sin is when they're boring.
Yep. Извините, мы так много, я все это не переведу, но мы обсуждаем то, что очень много того, что мы любим, ушло в телевидение. Если был бы Air Force 1, фильм с Гаррисоном Фордом, с Гарри Олдманом, то сегодня это был бы антологический сериал. Уже никто не сделал бы такой, как полный метр. И он говорит, что я, конечно, скучаю, потому что можно пойти в кино и посмотреть фильмы типа Рейда и так далее, где ты смотришь на человека рядом сидящего и думаешь, который ты не видел до этого, и думаешь, блядь, ты видел, что он сейчас сделал с его шеей? И такой, да, вот это, блядь, кино. И вот это ощущение очень важно. Также он ждет Дюну, он сказал. Он говорит, ему очень интересно, что с фантастикой сделает такой Вильнёв. And the very last thing you said, I remembered everything except the very last thing. Your final line was very cool. And
the cardinal sin of a movie is boring.
Единственный грех, который не может позволить себе фильм, и я на 1000% согласен, фильм не имеет права быть скучным. That's a perfect note. I think we should... Господа, на этом мы скажем спасибо Дереку. Derek, thank you very much. There's a lot of comments saying thank you. Mucho respect. Ребят, спасибо большое. Я сейчас все сгружу, можно будет посмотреть. Спасибо за внимание. По-моему, может, будет Боб завтра или в пятницу, пока непонятно. Спасибо.